Hello everyone and welcome to day 2 of our Juniper networking series. In today's video we are going to be zeroizing our switch. The next thing we're going to be doing is creating another user that is different from the root user. Next we're going to name our switch, so we're going to change the host name on our switch, and then lastly we're going to set the root authentication password on our device. So I'm going to explain the benefits of each of these steps as we go through the lab. So let's go ahead and first zeroize our switch. So I do have some configuration changes that I did on this switch. If you guys watched day 1 of the series, we did inter VLAN routing. So that configuration should still be on this switch. So if I just do a show configuration right now, you can see I have a user on here, I have the host name set, etc. Should be some VLANs. We have a trunk on our gigabit 00 interface. Most of our other ports are in the Ethernet switching. They're access ports. This is some remnants of our last lab. If we go down, we should see the VLANs and our IRB interfaces. Yep, so we see our IRBs that we created. We see our, what is it, the VLANs at? We see our VLANs right here. So we, just to say that this is not how the device is going to be shipped to you. Or it may be, if you buy a second-hand switch, which in the case I did, you're going to want to zeroize and get everything off and kind of start from scratch. So that is the benefit of zeroizing your switch. Basically, you're taking all of the manually configuration off of the switch, and you're basically going to take it back to its factory defaults. So that is a reason why you would zeroize a switch. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now because we're in operational mode. So let's do a request system zeroize at now. Oh, well, we don't have to do at now. We're just going to do a request system zeroize. And it says the system will be rebooted and may not boot without configuration. Erase all data including the configuration and log files. And by default it says no, but we're going to say yes. Alright, so our device has fully been zeroized, so it's at its factory defaults. And one key distinction you can tell that it's at its factory default is this host name Amnesiac. That is the default host name. So we're going to be changing that. But first off, let's go ahead and log in. We have to log in as root because we don't have any users that are on this device as of now because we just zeroized it. Let's log in as root. Alright, so our device is up now and we are in the free BSD or just Linux shell for Juniper. That's the underlying operating system. So we can do commands like ls, for example. We can see the directories that are within this current directory that we're in. So I don't want to do too much within Linux. We want to get into the video. So to get into operational mode, we type CLI. Alright, and now we're in operational mode. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is change the host name. So to do that, let's go into edit. Alright, so we can go into configuration mode, and this device is just booted, so it's taking a little minute for everything to get up and running as it needs to. Usually that is the case when you first boot your device. Okay, perfect. So the reason why we would set a host name on our device is depending on where the switch usually is located within our enterprise. I am using my switch for a home network switch, so I'm just going to name it bin switch for this case. But usually you're going to name it based off of where it's at in your network. So if it's a leaf access and it's connected to end hosts such as computers, you would probably name it something like that so you can inventory and also track your assets within your enterprise. Whether it's a core switch, so it's in your data center and it needs to switch traffic very fast, or route traffic if you're dealing with most of the time layer 3 switches as we are today. So you're basically going to name the switch based off of what it's doing for your enterprise. But in this case, I'm just going to name it bin switch. So let's do a set system, and we want to do a host name of bin switch. Hit enter there. Alright, so that is now within our candidate configuration. The next thing that we want to do is create a user named Ben. The reason why you would want to create a user is you want to be able to see who is making changes within your switch, and you can be able to track that as the network administrator. So if somebody messes something up, you may want to go in and be like, you can identify what changes were made based on that user. But if you don't curate any users and everybody has root access, you can't really track who's making changes. And then everybody has full realm over how to configure the device. If you have root access, or if you are a super user, you can basically do whatever you want to the switch. So if you have different users that have different authorization, you can kind of limit who can make certain changes, because within a production environment, you don't want downtime. So let's go ahead and create a user. Let's do a set system login user, and we're going to name this user Ben. Okay. Oh, I'm missing an argument. So I need to make a user ID. Let's make a user ID, and let's give the user ID of 2000. Okay, and let's do a set system. All right, login user Ben, and let's make Ben a super user. So let's give him well, what am I missing? Oh, I didn't need to put class, and then we can see the different classes of users. So we can see an operator is only going to have clear network reset trace views. A read-only user can only read different things within your configuration. You have a super user, which has all permissions, and you have unauthorized, which have no permissions. All right, so we want to make Ben a super user. If you had a new tech and you didn't want him to make any configuration changes, you would probably give him read-only access. All right, but in this case, I am going to make myself a super user and hit enter. All right, and let's do a set system login user Ben, and we want to do an authorization encrypted password for Ben. Let's make a password, so when we log into this user, we would just type in the password that we're typing right here. So let's say enter. Oops, let's hit encrypted password. Let me go ahead and type a password of just password. All right, and that is it for creating our user. So now if I were to commit these changes, or at least try to commit, because we have left out a very valuable step. When we zeroize our device and the factory default is just shipped to us, we have to set the root authentication password. So if I tried to commit these changes right now, I would get a commit error. So let's try it. Let's do a commit and see what happens. See? So we're getting the error. It says commit failed. Missing mandatory statement, and it's basically telling us that we did not configure the root authentication for our root user. So we have to set a authentication password for our root user. So to do that, let's do a set system root authentication encrypted password, and let's give it a password of password as well. Okay, and now if we do a show pipe compare, we can see all of the different changes that we're going to be doing once we commit these changes. So we have our host name, we have our root authentication password, we have a login user with Ben. He has a user ID of 2000. He's a super user, and we have his password, which is password. And that is all of the changes that we made on this device. So now let's do a commit and quit. And we should not receive that root authentication password error now. Perfect. So now we are back with an operational mode. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a request system reboot. Just a little bit more add now. We're going to add a little bit more to this lab. So let's go ahead and restart our system. So basically we're just rebooting the system right now. That's the command we just ran. So let's give it a few seconds to reboot, and then I'm going to log in as the user that we just created, and then we're going to end the video there. So our device has now rebooted, and if we take a look at our switch name, we can see that we are not within the initial configuration from our Zeroize command, because our switch has its name, which is bin switch. So let's log in as that user that we created. So let's type in bin, and then type in our password. And as we can see, we are now logged in as the user bin. It's taking a little bit because we just restarted this switch, so all of the daemons or whatever are still rebooting. But we can see here now that we are in operational mode. So if I did an edit, we're now in configuration mode, and we can see we're in the user bin, and our switch name is bin switch. So I appreciate you guys tuning in into day 2 of my Juniper networking labs over the next 30 days. I hope to see you in day 3. See you guys soon.